think in the next we're already seeing a shift. I think we're going to see a interesting reaction, and it depends on a couple of different factors. I think inflation will change things, or concerns will change things, but also the accessibility of the technology.
Right.
But I don't know. I think we're kind of getting close to the edge of the cliff where companies that are used to the old model, like you go down to your local game store and you're going to pick up a box of something, is going to severely be challenged.
That
When I go to a game store, I look around and I'm like, how long before you can get all of this? And like once you can get it 3D printed, why do these stores want to carry the product? Obviously, because there will always be people who don't want to do anything of the printing side. They don't at all. They want to. I just want to buy it and I want to put it together. I don't want to clean it. I don't want to print it. I don't.
right.
There will be the older generation of gamers will have to eventually phase out. But even then, some people aren't going to be a do-it-yourself kind of person. They want someone else to do it. So even there'll still be 3D printing services available, like there already are now. But I don't know if I don't. At one point, I thought more of the companies would jump in. At this point, I think Games Workshop is probably, like you said, is seeing the change. I don't know how. I think the only way that they would get involved is if they can control the 3D printing side and somehow figure out a way to protect it and make extra money. And right now we're kind of in, like, I label it as like the Wild West. There's more developers getting involved, but you can't really control certain elements of it, and you kind of just have to like recognize that's just the beast right now.
You touched on several aspects there. So first, and that's all. This also touches both into Revelations and Black Star. At what point are we damaging the friendly neighborhood gaming store? Because again, if we're pushing our entire games digitally,
Mm-hmm.
we're not putting product in their stores. That means less business for them, and even if they host the games, it's less business for them. I mean, they can sell like energy bars and drinks, and actually some stores actually do good money of that, and the players go there and maybe they see other products and they buy them. But imagine if most of the products become digital. What happens to the friendly neighborhood game stores that we have loved and relied on for decades? That's an interesting point. And the second part that you were mentioning was the control, right? Because some people say it will only you need to be able to have like some sort of copy protection or DRM schemes in the files. At the moment, like you said, it's sort of the wild west and that stuff. But would that actually work? Because I've always believed piracy is a service problem. It's a supply problem, but it's a service problem. And people have always cracked video games and have always pirated movies. And when did that stop happening on a massive scale? It still happens, but it's not as impactful because you have services like Netflix or Spotify or other streaming services that made the product so accessible, both in the price and in the supply, that you'd rather pay Spotify $9 per month instead of going searching the internet to download MP3 files or whatever format they are using now. So is copy protecting 3D printing files really the way the industry actually wants to go? Because I just think that will create problems. I'm basically running my Patreon as, okay, people who want to support me, but as a sort of for Blackstar, it will be a sort of subscription service for Blackstar. That's how I'm gonna run it. People who want to pirate Blackstar stuff will pirate Blackstar stuff, even if I don't have it on the Patreon and I have it on some site like My Minis Factory. If you want to pirate it, and we're talking about cheap stuff. you will pirate it. It doesn't. The money doesn't matter to you. It's either a cultural thing, I make it too difficult to access the Black Star material. But if the Black Star material is just behind one single paywall on Patreon, just subscribe. There it is. The entire thing is there. So why would you pirate it? You know, why would I go to the trouble of copy protecting my files? At the moment, it can't even really be done, you know. But imagine if they come up with some weird way to do it, right? I don't see the value in that. Just supply product that people want at attractive prices, and with making it easy for people to get to the product.
Well, I've spent a good amount of time thinking about this, and as a creator myself, and I've personally put in a lot of time and money in developing, and I know that you are now with Blackstar, but just setting the table for this,
Right.
and I really struggled with, should I make my STLs available, because right now, because of the condition of the market and the situation and just the reality of the market, I should say, if you distribute your STL, you have to assume as a developer that it's out there. Someone will give it away. Someone will put it in some sort of group file share, that the files are available. And what I realized was, I noticed this was a couple of years ago. With BattleTech, people were creating models that were better than what was currently available. Now, this was before the Kickstarter launched. So we were kind of in that weird, we only have Ironwind metals and we have 3D
Really,
printing,
and
basically.
and really bad plastics from the Alpha Strike line.
Right. So, and I watched as modelers were filling in the gap of new product, and there was obviously new product coming out, but it wasn't to current standards of what models should look like.
Right.
And these people are creating models that are just as good or better than what's available, and then they just give it away. They're not selling it. They just throw it to the community. Here you go. Here's this mech now for everybody. And as a developer, I was terrified, because I'm like, how do I stop someone from looking at the Sierra and creating the Sierra over again and then just giving that away? What if they made a better Sierra than what I have available? And they're just like, here you go, guys. I don't want to make any money because I don't want any legal problems. So I'm just going to give it away. And I was like, there's no way to stop an individual who's completely motivated by passion and can dedicate, 100 hours to a model and just give it away. There's no way to prevent that. So I might as well try to head them off. And what I decided with my business model was I was going to make the STLs available very affordably, because if they are expensive, because the instinctual side is, okay, I'm the one who invested all the time and money developing. I should make, I don't know, you make X amount, $20 off of an STL. Maybe you're like, well, yeah, because they're going to print an infinite number of Sierras. So what's the value of an infinite possibility when we know realistically most people probably are going to print two, but the infinite possibility is there. So how do you price that? And I think the market will continue to evolve through that as we kind of progress as a community. But overall, I was like, well, if it's available pretty cheap, then there won't be the incentive to steal it, because, well, why should I go and download it for free when I can go to Rick and give him $5+? And then I can get, then I'm supporting Revelations. Like, it's removing the hindrances, and it doesn't make my company look greedy, or it's like, I need $100 for each STL, because I don't know, you might print 500 of this. And then,
I don't think these STLs should be expensive. I agree with you. But from a realistic standpoint, where you want people to buy them, of course. But really, they are, sure, someone can like reproduce it and print it 500 times, but you're just buying a digital model, So obviously, some models have a lot of work going into them. So you offset the amount of work the model had to be done with basically mass sales, and then that's how the business model works, right?
It does in theory. Right now, we're everybody who's doing what we're doing is in the experimental phase. There's
Right.
nobody who can say, "I've been doing this for 15 years. This is how it's done." The entire 3D printing community has evolved very quickly, and there aren't a lot of there. Actually, to my knowledge, there's no large company that's gotten involved. So we are sort of pioneering this. So we're kind of exploring while setting the standard,
But you,
and
but,
then at go ahead.
but you can look at other digital formats that already have a more mature industry. For example, like Steam, like digital games, right? For a long time, people didn't know where it was all headed, and it was believed that every game would become free to play or free because the prices kept dropping and there were so many games being created, and all the Steam sales were insane, right? And what ended up happening, the market stabilized because the companies and the market regulated itself to find the acceptable prices that people are willing to pay. So even I, as a developer, I used to work in the games industry like 10, 12 years ago. And I was concerned with this. Like, why am I going to slave away doing my own game, risking all my finances for 3 or 4 years working on the game or something like that? And then I release the game, and the game is like 10 or 15 euros, and people still think it's too expensive because there are Steam sales constantly offering games at 99 cents or something like that. But the reality is the market adjusted, and if you make people interested and if you provide value, the people will support you, and that's basically my perspective on the subject, right? So, and we all started as hobbyists, so yeah, there's that guy that is really passionate, is doing good STL models, is putting them up for free, and you think, oh, maybe he's competing with me, maybe I won't be able to sell my STLs or something like that. But the reality is, if your models are cool, people will want to support you.